Hello, this is Dr. Andy with another video about 365 students that I've known as I march inexorably towards July 1st, 2027, when I'll be retiring from 37 years of teaching at UC Davis. UC Davis is a huge university, and I've been teaching here for decades, so I've known thousands of students. I've also known more than 1,000 faculty. I may know more retirees than I do current faculty at the moment. But so many of my colleagues have attended meetings that I've hosted, or events that I've run in town, or poetry readings that I've officiated. And it's been a real pleasure to get to know all of the associates of the University of California, Davis, and people from so many other walks of life here in the city of Davis and in the greater Sacramento and Bay Area regions. Well, this has been made possible in part by LinkedIn, Facebook, once upon a time on Twitter. I may still have more followers on Twitter than I do anywhere else. Not that that matters. These days, we have Blue Sky, don't we? And we have Threads. But with the help of all of these different outreach engines, if you will, and with my own personal mental Rolodex, I've been able to connect over the course of my career. And I'm including with my career the work that I've done in the world of poetry, for example. I've been able to connect with thousands and thousands of people. When I lived in Washington, D.C., it was a bigger city, but for me, a smaller world. I lived in the Glover Park neighborhood, and a lot of my adventures stayed largely within the corridors of Wisconsin Avenue and streets that came off of it, as Tunlaw Road did, the street that I lived on, and Connecticut Avenue, where a great number of my friends lived, and the street off of which my small high school can be found. I went to the Field School in Washington, D.C. It has since moved from Wyoming Avenue. But back in the early 80s, as with the 70s, and I guess the late 80s. But back in the early 80s, the Field School was very close to DuPont Circle, which for me meant bookstores, video arcades, newsstands, the metro, and movie theaters. Today, it only offers a few of those attractions, but I will say that I felt lucky that I grew up in Washington, D.C., and that I went to a small urban school. Not only did my kids go to a bigger high school than I did, but they went to a bigger high school than the size of either one of the colleges that they attended. My daughter Geneva attending Beloit College, and my son Truman now attending Ithaca College. When are you going to get to the subject of your video, Dr. Andy? All in good time. I mean, look where we're walking. Isn't this beautiful? This is where my son Juki and I get to walk every day as part of our nature explorations. Soon we'll be crossing that famous wooden bridge over the South Fork of Puda Creek. So there were 40 graduates in my high school class. And one of them was my friend Jonathan. Jonathan and I were on the running team together at some point. We took French classes together. We were in the same geometry class in 9th grade. I'm sure Jonathan didn't need summer school to pass that class. But either way, he was a fixture at the high school. He had gone from 7th grade all the way up to 12th grade at the same high school I had joined in 9th grade. But we were friends, And so I was so pleased to hear from him that his son, Alex, was coming to Davis to attend the University of California, Davis, for law school. Well, Jonathan and his wife had Alex almost exactly 10 years to the month after Jonathan and I graduated from the field school. And I received a delightful message on Facebook from this young man named Alex. He said, "Hi, Andy. My father recommended I reach out to you since I'm headed to Davis in the fall. Thank you so much for offering to be an emergency backup for me. I'm still in Liberia right now with the Peace Corps, but I may have some questions about Davis over the next few months. Again, thank you. Having someone offer support in a new place means a lot." Isn't that sweet? So Alex did make it to Davis. He did ring me up and say, "When can we meet for dinner?" I said, "How about let's meet at Hunan's, one of my favorite Chinese places." And I told him that I'd be bringing my unusual son, Juki, with me, and that Juki may steal some of his dinner. He said, "I'm game." So we did meet at Hunan's. It was remarkable to meet Alex, not because he was the spitting image of his father, though the resemblance was clear. He looked even more like his uncle, who also went to my high school. He was Jonathan's younger brother, and who I also knew, again, back in the early 80s. So we talked. Alex told me this fascinating story. The way that he researched universities is that he got a friend of his to bring on a hard drive all of Wikipedia. It makes you wonder, how much disk space do you need for Wikipedia in English? And then Alex would study Wikipedia, study the Wikipedia page for UC Davis, probably our law school. I just checked with Alex's Facebook page, and we have 4 friends in common: his dad, his stepmom, his uncle, and the dean of the law school here at UC Davis. So Alex would, using a solar battery, power a Chromebook to read over the Wikipedia page for UC Davis, and this is how he looked at UC Davis and other colleges. And then he would write messages, transfer them to his phone, and he said that near the village where he lived in Liberia when he was in the Peace Corps, there was a hill. And if you climbed to the top of that hill and you held your cell phone up in the air, you could get the equivalent of 1 bar. And so this is how Alex sent me that message on Facebook. He would write all the messages ahead of time, store them on his phone, upload a message like this onto Facebook from his phone, hold the phone up in the air and hit send, and then I would get it in Davis, California. So, Alex was a delightful young man to meet. When he came, he asked me if I would be a reference for him. He said he knew 2 people, a friend of his from undergrad who was getting a PhD in math, and me. And he needed 2 references to rent a home. So I told him that I would be his reference. I told him to send me his resume so that I would know how to say something about Alex if I were asked any questions. And then when I found out the address, I said, "Oh, Alex, I know someone who's just 4 doors down from you, one of your new neighbors. She will also welcome you to the city of Davis." So thereafter, Alex would sometimes pop into one of my pub quizzes at De Vere's Irish Pub on E Street in the city of Davis. This was obviously before the pandemic. I would see him on the street. Once I saw him biking with a bow tie, and I sent him a sassy message saying, "I feel obligated to report to your father that you were seen biking in the city of Davis while wearing a bike helmet." And typically when I see, for instance, one of my interns not wearing a bike helmet, I will, tell me if this is too controlling, I will Venmo the student $30 and say, "This is for a bike helmet." And then they would feel obligated to buy a bike helmet and to wear it, lest they be spotted by Dr. Andy without their bike helmet on the streets of Davis. It's not that I'm standing in for their parents, but having taught in the bike capital of the United States for so many decades, I've heard too many stories about head injuries that could easily have been avoided. I myself wiped out once when biking across past a corner under an olive tree. The olive tree dropped a bunch of olives, making an olive oil slick. And I was making a turn, not knowing any of this, and I just wiped out. I fell and hit my head on like a small curb. Was I injured? Yes. Was my head injured? No. My head was in good shape. Or at least so I say. Others may disagree. So Alex wrote me back with equal sass saying, "Yes, please tell my father that I was wearing a bike helmet, but please don't tell him that I was biking with no hands." Later, maybe in October of that year, I got another, definitely in October of that year, it might have been November 1st, I got another sassy message from Alex that said, "That was me in costume on my bicycle. Happy Halloween to you. Tell me, what were your costumes?" I was probably in College Park trick-or-treating with my children. So, and so it went. We would run into each other downtown. We would catch up. I would inquire after his family. And then the last of my messages said these two things. One, congratulations on having graduated today from law school at UC Davis, Alex. And then my next message said, and this was in April, "Congratulations on getting married this month, Alex. What a lucky bride, what a lucky groom." And thus end our messages. These messages, they don't need to continue forever. I guess this is a message to Alex. And the message is this. A, I'm glad you came to UC Davis. I'm glad you could help me reconnect with not only your father, who I got to reunite with when he brought his wife to Davis for some sort of drop-off or pickup or graduation, and I got to have dinner with them. We recounted the number of people that we have kept in touch with from our graduating class of 40. Even though Jonathan lives in the Washington, D.C. area, he may live in the same neighborhood where he lived when I knew him. Ironically, I'm still in touch with more people from our high school graduating class than he is. That would have to be fact-checked. You got to be careful when you make these claims amongst flowers while walking down the street of Davis, California, because I'm on video, and this will be seen someday by Alex. Hello, Alex, congratulations for something I'm about to say, and by his dad, Jonathan. Hello, Jonathan, mon frère. So that was my second message. It was wonderful to meet you, Alex. Thank you for letting my son Juki steal your wontons when we met for Chinese food on that first day. Congratulations on graduating law school. Congratulations on getting married. And I just checked your Facebook page. Congratulations on being a vice mayor of a large, important metropolitan city here in the United States of America. I had no idea. I should have expected as much, because you always did seem like a promising young man. Neither my relative nor my student, but a student, when I was a faculty member at the University of California, Davis. And therefore, for those reasons, and the many reasons that I've covered in this one-take video, I've included you in my diary of a Quizmaster. 365 videos about 365 memorable students during my time at UC Davis. My name is Dr. Andy. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. Don't click off yet because I haven't given you the call to action. Please like and subscribe, and then leave a comment. Have you ever had an occasion to have dinner with the child of one of your high school classmates? I would love to hear the story. I've got more stories for you in our next episode of Diary of a Quizmaster. I'll see you there. Bye-bye.